Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. Are you evaluating your career in real estate? Feel like you're ready for a fresh start? Or ready to take your career to the next level? This is your podcast. Welcome back to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. I am your host, Meredith Fogel, along with our co-host, Alicia Soikawa. Hey, Alicia.
Hello.
Hello. All right. So
Procrastination.
procrastination. Yes, we're not procrastinating. We're diving right into this one.
Yeah.
But we are talking about procrastination, if I can talk today. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is that this is a theme, I feel like, recently amongst people that I have talked to when I'm trying to help them identify what's getting in the way of them reaching their goals. Over and over, I hear procrastination, procrastination, procrastination. I'm like, procrastination. And it's kind of weird because this might sound kind of strange, but I'm not a procrastinator. I am a dive in and get it done kind of person. I'm like, that old like eat the frog thing. I'm all
Mhm.
about that. And so it's kind of hard for me to relate to. And because of that, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about why people might procrastinate and then strategies for getting through it. So, Alicia, we'll do this almost like a mini coaching session if you don't mind. We'll have
Sure.
you can be like the expert coach, which you are, and maybe I can play the role, and this will be my theater background coming out here. Maybe I can play the role of somebody who is struggling with procrastination. And you guys will get a little bit of a glimpse into how coaching works here too. And because this is such a common theme, we'll kind of show you how to work through it. So often during a coaching session, what's happening is a client will come to us with a problem. Like often like it's an accountability thing. So we do a lot of accountability and business coaching. And perhaps the action that let's just pretend, Alicia, like I was going to let's see. I was going to start an expired campaign because I don't know if you guys have heard, this is just off the cuff here. Interest information is that expireds have doubled within the past 12 months. Tom just shared this, Tom Ferry, with us earlier today, and are projected to double again in the next 12 months, is what he said. So that means the expired strategy that we sort of had put a pause on for a long time because anything was selling, no matter what it looked like or what it was priced at, that is coming back. So if you're able to dive into expires, just a little bit of a tip for those out there in a strategic way, you are going to grab those expireds and create listing opportunities for yourself. So a little bit of a commercial for expired campaign. But let's say, Alicia, that on our last coaching session, I said to you, we had talked about an expired campaign and I was going to start to build out a campaign. And I've come back on the call and I'm saying to you, you know, coach, I don't know what happened. I didn't get to it this week.
So I would typically say, why? I'm not going to let you get away with saying, like, I just didn't get to it. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, I think, some things happen. Like I had a tough week. I was sick at the beginning of the week when my kids got sick. I did have a buyer that I took out. I had a buyer, they came into town. So I spent like the entire day Saturday showing them houses. And then, I needed to spend some time with my family on Sunday. Monday, I don't know, it was on my calendar, but it got pushed. I had like a couple of things come up within the office I had to take care of. So yeah, I didn't get to it yet.
So, in your mind, why is it that the expired campaign is going to be so important for you going forward?
Well, I mean,
One
like you
being out of one,
said,
and 10 being really
mhm,
on a
like you,
scale of 1 to 10.
I think it's an 8 because I know I need listing leads. I know that's a way to get them. I know this campaign works for people, and there's that letter that somebody sent that seemed like it was really good, and I want to send that. Um, I don't know. I guess I'm just procrastinating. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that this is very important. An 8 would be pretty important. Would you say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I need to
So an
know
8
that.
is important, and an 8 in 3 months from now, if you execute this, will give you business, which will then solve some of the issues that you're dealing with today, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I would question too, is there a reason you're not doing it? Because maybe you shouldn't be doing it? Who in your organization needs to be doing it for you?
I guess I have my assistant who could help with some of it. I mean, my VA, I guess, could pull the expires. I don't know. I guess it seems like a lot right now. And
So it's
I
not an 8
well, I mean, I think it is an 8, but I feel like I don't know. I guess I'm procrastinating and I don't know why.
because you do know why. There's because the immediate gratification of this being an 8 is not making you, it's not urgent. So it
Hmm.
falls in the quadrant of it's important, but in your mind, it's not urgent. So
Hmm.
you allow the non-important urgent tasks to take priority of the important non-urgent. And so the
Yeah.
thing is that you have to have the discipline as a leader. You say you want to be the leader, right? We're talking about you being the leader that everyone follows and wants to do. So
Yeah.
how can you expect people to follow you when you can't follow yourself?
Ooh. Ouch. Yeah, that kind of hurts. I hear that. Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to be the rainmaker, and I know that this is one way that I can
Mhm.
create opportunities for my agents. If I can get those expireds converted, they'll
So
be my
yeah, so
house.
you know that you have the skill to convert them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
You do
yeah,
that. You know, it's just a matter of the logistics of getting them pulled and making the campaign done. So
yeah.
why are you choke holding the how and controlling it when you could just outsource this and get it done? It may not be perfect, but it'll be done.
Hmm.
Because I think at the end of the day, you're not doing it because you don't really want to do it, because it's not your wheelhouse to do those types of things.
Hmm. Okay, you might be right. I mean, it's when I think about it, I think about where my mind goes is to the listing appointment, like going in there, having the fun of converting the seller, getting the listing signed, getting it prepped for market, all of those things. But when I think about having to pull the expireds, having to create the mailers, having to do a mail merge, having to put them in envelopes, all the things, I think that's where I'm getting stuck.
So you're getting stuck with the how.
Yes.
So since you figured out what you want, we now need to figure out who's going to help you do it. So
Okay.
you don't have to delegate it all. You just need to leverage someone to do it.
Okay.
So you
Well,
check the checks and balance and just say like, hey, VA, hey, admin, this is the goal. Let's get these out. This is the deadline. I want these by, and I'm going to review them. Give me 3 options of what the postcard will look like.
okay.
Pull all the data and let's say these are the parameters we're going to pull, and then I will check the ones we want to send out, and I want you to hand address all of them and have that ready to go. So I think if you give the deadlines in the project and leverage them, you're not leaving it completely. I think the fear is that if you delegate, they're going to do it wrong. But you're leveraging it, and then you're telling them, get this done and report back to me, and I'll give you the next step.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. And I think if they tell me what the next step needs to be, then it's rolling. I think part of my fear is too, like, it's
Oh, stop. Part of
oh,
my what
part of my fear.
here. It's not procrastination.
Oh, interesting.
You just said it.
Okay.
So all procrastination is fear realized.
Ah. All right, so this is where I wanted to get with this, and I'll come out of the role play now because this is the see what you did there, such skillful coaching. You found like the issue behind underneath the issue.
It's always
Exactly
the
what you
issue.
said
It's
is
always
right.
very, very simple issue. You
Yep.
create this whole scenario about like, oh, it's just procrastinating. It's not a big deal. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And then you dismiss it. And it's a driver personality, which is what typical team leads are, is that they're
Mhm.
going to bulldoze it through and muscle their way through and say, that's why, that's why. It's not my fault.
Right, right, right. And I think, okay, so as I was doing this, even though I'm really not doing an expired campaign, but I could be, what came up for me was, as you're like coaching me, is my identity as a team leader is not doing a mail merge, is not stuffing envelopes. And
It's like you're rebelling against it.
And that's what it was. That's what came up for me there. And I can see other people having this exact same thing, especially if you're coming into this business and you're having to do some of the granular work that feels administrative. If you're new to this, you might have to do all the administrative work to begin with. So the question I have then is, say you came from like a C-suite position, or like you, Alicia, came from a very high level position in the corporate world, and then coming into a place where you're having to do all the things. Like, let's say that doesn't align with you, who you believe you are. How do you get past that? Or do you not? Do you just hire help?
I think it's important to remember we are never above doing anything in this world,
Mm.
including cleaning toilets, picking up shit. Like, how many times have you gone to your house and you're like, oh my God, let me put the gas mask on? Like, you got to get in the trenches, roll up your sleeve and do the stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
No one is above that. I mean, that's why that show, like, remember the boss comes in and does the role, the bottom layer, the CEO, to see what's really going on in their business.
Oh, yes.
Undercover
Cover
boss.
boss.
So
Yes.
yeah. So like once you have that ego, remember we talked about ego, once you get your head so big that you think you're too good to do anything, that's the problem.
Mm,
Issue is not that you're too good for it. The issue is that you know how to do it, you can do it, but your
mhm.
time is better used doing other things. There's a
Yeah.
difference.
Right. Right.
There's a
Which
difference.
there is, yeah. Which sometimes is you have to get to the point of leverage, and you've got to do the grunt work until you've got the leverage.
And I think
Um,
it's important to know how to do it, right? Because you can't
sure.
leverage someone to help you if you don't even know what's going on. So that's how
Correct.
people get taken too. That's why people then try to leverage their social media and all the different things. If you don't really understand the basics of it or what's going on, that's where companies can really take advantage of you. And we see it happen over and over again
Yep.
because you don't understand the basics. So you're going to hire someone to do something and you're going to believe they know what they're doing
Yeah.
and you're going to hire them for all this money. That's when you see later on, oh my God, I can't believe I spent like $2,500 and they didn't even get me anything.
Yes. Yes. Happens in the financial realm too.
Yeah.
So watch out for
Yes.
that. So interesting though, to come back to the procrastination piece, as you called me out on the fear piece of it there, in my mind, I'm thinking, how am I hearing this resonant repetition of procrastination? It can't be procrastination for everybody. That's got
No,
to be an umbrella term people are using for other things.
it's fear.
Okay.
100% of
Fear,
100% of
fear
the
of
time.
what, right?
Fear of the uncertainty. All fear and faith are the same. How do we believe in God?
You mean like, how do we believe? Because
How do
of
humans believe in God? Because they have faith.
just faith.
They
Yeah,
believe.
right.
It's the belief. It's their
Right.
belief. So
Right.
it's the same as why do people like they get so paralyzed by fear? Like think about the fear. People have fear of bridges, a fear of heights, a fear they won't go near it. They're not touching it because it's really real to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're like, I'm not going in there like spiders, whatever have you. Like the people that have those fear, it is like real to them.
Yes. So
So
in
it's
real
all
estate,
it
when
is.
we hear procrastination and we hear it translate into that it's translated into fear, what do you think most people are fearful of that is keeping them from doing the things, taking the actions they need to take to be successful? And how do we get them past it?
I think there's a lot of pieces that go with that is they can't see the pathway. And so since they can't see it, the uncertainty of it is too much for them to take the chance and risk.
Oh my gosh. It
Because
just,
they're scared. So the
yeah.
scaring of, and that's what's going on right now in our market is that people don't want to move forward. It's kind of confusing. You'll see people are paralyzed because they don't know what's going to happen this election. It doesn't really matter. We all know that. There's an undiagnosed fear that's happening where people are like, well, I'm just going to wait
Mm-hmm.
just in case. And we're like, just in case what? Do you
Right.
not need to move somewhere? Do you not need to? I mean, you need to move. So what do you mean, what, just in case?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of just in case in our businesses. Oh, just in case I can't afford that TC, I'm not going to hire them. But then they're going to kill
Mm-hmm.
themselves to do all the stuff they need to do. And they probably are really not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they've tried a little bit of it and they realize they're not good at pulling the data. And instead of admitting they're not good and they need help, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to blame it on procrastination because they're fearful of asking for help and fearful for looking stupid, fearful for trying that out and didn't work and have to admit that it didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
fearful for if it does work and I get all this busyness, how am I going to, I can't even do the business now. How am I going to do twice the business?
Mm.
And that's
And
the
that's
truth.
where the tools come into play. And that's where, again, having like a guide, a team leader, a
Yes.
coach helps you. You know what the image that popped into my mind when you said they can't see the path is you remember that scene from Indiana Jones where it's like there's a cliff and they have
You
to
have
go
to just
across.
take it's the faith. You have to take the
Right,
leap.
the faith. And then
Mhm.
someone like scatters something and all of a sudden all of the
Yes.
stones become visible. But you've got to have somebody who can help
Because
demarcate.
it's like the Google Maps version and you need the person that's on top. You're on
Yeah.
street level, you need the eagle.
Yes.
And that's what
Yes.
a coach does is like that's what I always said with my coach. And she's like, no, I know it's going to be fine. This is what you have to do. This is the path. I know.
Mm,
I know for sure. But
that
you're
certain.
like, oh no, I can't see it over there. Are you sure? Take a right, take a right, take a right. You have someone telling you to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's the whole piece of that. But you have to get out of your head and you have to have faith and trust. And trust takes time to build and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that you have to be honest with yourself and who you are in this business and what you want. Because you have to
Yes.
understand it does take work. So if you don't have the capacity to do the 100 deals, but you say you're doing the expires to get the 100 deals, but you don't have the capacity,
Mm,
that doesn't make sense.
mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
people are so wrapped up in 100 deals. I'm like, well, you can't even do 40 deals yourself without killing yourself.
Right.
Where are you going to do 100 without hiring agents and help and support?
Yes.
And where does
Yeah.
that even make sense? So sometimes it's not an alignment with what you are actually doing and what you're building with what you say you want. So that's where that whole identity comes into play.
Mm,
So sometimes if you haven't figured out who you are in the business, you will not allow yourself to succeed because you don't have that identity. It doesn't make sense. So
mm.
you cannot
Yes.
wrap your head around it. That's really what it is at the end of the day.
So do you think that for people who are struggling with procrastination, doing something like creating their 1, 5, and 10 year vision, doing a business plan, does that help move
No, it
past
makes it
procrastination?
worse
Makes it worse. Tell me
because
why.
they don't have the identity of what that is yet. They're just placing it all into boxes and checking the box.
Okay,
And they're
so
going to feel
how do
really
they,
good about moving the paper around. Like I did my business plan. I did it. I turned it in.
all right. So how do they create the identity then?
You have to figure out what it is. Who are you in the business? What do you do every day?
All
What is
right,
your
so let's ask the question. So if someone is listening right now, for those listening right now who don't have that clear vision of who they are in the business, they don't know their identity, what questions should they be asking?
what do you want your day to look like?
Okay.
Like when you wake up, what time are you waking up?
Okay.
Who are your partners? Like, do you meet with your operations person, your manager, office manager, or are you a lone ranger and you're just going out and making calls?
Mm,
That'll let you know if you really want a team or not. Do you want to
okay.
not have to report to people? Do you have an assistant that just helps navigate you? And then you talk to them in the morning. What is your relationship like with your children and your husband and your spouse? Are you working so much that you don't even see them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, are you working 7 days a week? Are you doing open houses every single weekend? Are you door knocking? What is it that you love in the business? Are you socializing? Are you networking? Are you having strategic relationships? Like some people will eventually realize, no, I really like the flipping side of the business. I
Mm-hmm.
love to project plan. I like to make all those pieces go around. And maybe I don't like the sales piece as much.
Mm-hmm.
You won't figure that out until you allow yourself to figure out where do you like in the business? What are you doing in the business that you love day to day? And if you love to negotiate and you love to fight over inspection items, then maybe you need another salesperson to show the property, and then you handle everything when it goes under contract to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're saying to craft your identity for what you want it to be in real estate based on what you enjoy most, right? And then
I
to
like it. And what is it that you want to do? Like if you want to do 50 deals a year and you can't even breathe right now and you're doing 25,
Yeah,
where's that going to go in your schedule?
right, right.
So that doesn't even make sense, right? And then if you did 25 deals a year, but you doubled your price point, maybe then that will make more sense
Mhm.
versus 50 deals a year. Right.
Okay,
So
which
that's what
then
I'm trying to
you
say is like you have to figure out what is it, when do you want to stop work? When do you want to start work? When do you take vacations? Is church important to you? If church is important to you, you're not doing open houses on Sunday. Where are you
Mhm,
volunteering with? Do you get to pick up your kids at school every day at 2? Well, you're
mhm.
probably not going to do certain types of business then.
Yeah.
It's like that we had as coaches, we had to decide that for ourselves too. Like
Yeah.
there's a piece of what
Yes.
we give up to be coaches, right?
Yep.
So as an identity of being a coach, I had to decide like, is this more important to me than doing like 150 deals a year?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is when we create this kind of clarity, it will then show us the path, I think, for what we need to
Yes.
do.
Yes. When you
And
figure out
yeah.
who are you first? What do you do? What do you like? Well, oh my gosh, the what will show up. This is
Mm.
what I want, and this is why I want it.
And then the fear falls away because there's
Or
certainty
falls
there.
away because you have this certainty of who you
Yeah.
are.
Ooh, love it. Love it. Good
Pretty
stuff.
cool.
Very, very cool.
It all
Okay.
like wraps together.
It
If you
does.
really think
It
about it.
does. All right. The last question that I think I have for you on this topic is, can your identity as a real estate business person change over time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think it's important to change because if you're not growing and changing and developing, you're dying,
Yeah.
right? We talked about that a long time ago.
Yeah.
So in the business, you get better, I hope. If you become more skilled and you get better at negotiating and stuff, then maybe you go from doing, you can do these deals with your eyes closed. Maybe you
Yeah.
go from, doing new builds to developments, to
Mm-hmm.
understanding, historical homes and how do you renovate these things and how do you take neighborhoods and revitalize a whole neighborhood. And it goes from just the small pieces to the larger pieces,
Yeah.
understanding how to deploy and inspire team. That's maybe where the team place comes into place is
Yeah.
that you do it so well that you're inspired by your behaviors to attract and teach others to do the same. That's,
Yes.
I think, where that happens naturally as a team leader versus you going, I want to be a team leader and I want to have a team.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly. And I think just because at some point, you're driving toward that goal, you can also pivot. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about this
Changed
business
my
too.
mind like 15
Yeah.
million times in the business.
Yep.
I changed my mind when I became a mom. So a
Yeah.
lot of parents I see that are not even married yet, it's going to change when they become a mom.
Yes.
It's going to change when their kids get a certain age. It'll change when the kids leave. It'll change when they want to retire. Like you have to
Yeah.
remember there's a life cycle in business and there's a life cycle that you have.
Yes.
So you have to make sure to figure out where are you in your life cycle in life and where is your business in the life cycle.
Mm, hmm. And then create the identity that you feel aligned with, that you feel brings you joy, that you feel like you want to drive toward in those moments, depending on where you are in the life cycle, which then gives you the clarity and certainty to work toward whatever that current vision is of yourself, with the total
Yeah.
freedom that it can evolve and change.
It absolutely can because you have to think about the way this business works too. It's so cool. Real estate touches so many different avenues. There's commercial, residential, new construction, like renovation, flipping, rent, like all the different pieces, right? There's coaching, not coaching, like
Right?
investments, like syndications. Like when you hear real estate, it's not just a static thing. It
Yeah.
also moves into many pieces and it's a skill. When you have it, you can go into many other things. There's title, there's moving, there's staging, like there's so many pieces, insurance that spin off of our business, right?
Hmm.
And it opens our eyes to like, oh my God, there's so many other businesses that this can, spin
Yeah.
off to. So what it does is it makes you think strategically in a different way is I learned this in this business. I wonder if I could apply it to that business and grow
Yeah.
this business. And kind of like it starts like having little babies is what I call it. And they're impatient, I think, in the ecosystem. I won't say her name because I don't know if she wants to be called out, but she's leaving the business to run other businesses.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool to understand like you don't have to stay in this business forever. This may be something that sparks and teaches you to grow something else. Or maybe
Mhm.
this is a second life business for you that you did something else and brought your skill set here and grew this to something crazy. I mean,
Yep.
we know like what Chris Weaver and the ecosystem is amazing. He has many different
Yes.
businesses and he has
Yes.
grown and he owns the Sotheby's franchise and he does so many
Yep.
different things.
Yeah.
But he doesn't feel tired because he's a true owner.
Yes.
So ultimately, so how do you get out of that cranking operator mode and get into owner mode is the ultimate goal, I believe, in our business.
I agree. I agree. Yes. And when that's your identity, or any of these pieces become your identity, the procrastination really does fall away because motivation replaces it because you've got the certainty of
Yeah,
exactly
and then
where you want to go.
the
Yeah.
result. And also
Yes.
then you also have your non-negotiable and your standards of what you tolerate of like, what is your hourly rate? You
Mm-hmm.
have an hourly rate that's $1,000 an hour. Why the hell are you running around doing $25 hour work?
Yes.
That doesn't even make sense.
That conflicts with your identity. Yeah. Good stuff. Anything else we should share about procrastination?
I would just say execute, move, massive action. And if you feel
Yes.
yourself falling like in that procrastination, just take one step forward. Just like if
Yes.
you don't want to work out, just go do 5 minutes, go do a minute, go
Yeah.
read something, do something
Yep.
that's going to spark you to get in that motion. And once you're in the motion, it kind of tends to be easier.
Yes.
You'll start going. And I often with my YouTube channel, I'm like that. Oh, but I know what I want. I want to grow this channel. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do my outline and I'll do a couple and I'll see how I feel. Next thing you know, 5 videos are done.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you're doing great with that and have tons of traction. So share with everybody where they can find you on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's at a Soikawa. That's my YouTube channel because I have a little handle. It's a Soikawa.
Nice.
Like
Yeah,
that's
check
it.
out Alicia's videos. I will
Yeah.
say, I think I've watched almost all of them, and great, like huge variety of topics all
Yeah.
within the same kind
Yeah.
of genre. But great storytelling. You'll learn a lot watching the videos as well. It's all kinds of real estate, but life lessons, business, all kinds of things that people will relate to. So good stuff. All right. Yeah. Get out there. Like Tom always says, action cures everything. Get in action. Take that next right step. And if you need help with any of that, reach out to either one of us. We are always more than happy to help. Thank you for listening. Please send us your show ideas, leave us a review or a rating on the platform on which you are listening. We are so appreciative every time one of our listeners reaches out, and when somebody leaves us a kind review or a rating. That's why we do this, is to try to help you guys, get you into action, and help you achieve the careers and lives of your dreams. This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We will see you next time. We are so grateful you have joined us today. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe to our show or share it with people that you think would benefit. And please remember to leave us a review or rating on the platform on which you are listening.
And if you've got questions about Tom Ferry coaching, have the both of us here, please contact us directly. We would love to answer your questions, or if you're just curious, love to have a conversation. You can reach us at any of our social media outlets or shoot us a direct message.